fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Meaghan.
And I'm Sireen.
And it is another week in the month of December where we're talking about whatever we want to. I love how terrible we make it sound. Kind of genuinely just talking about stuff.
We're still talking about books.
Yeah,
it's not like we're sitting here talking about, the most recent terrible Netflix movie with Chad Michael Murray in it.
Okay, so obviously, I think it should be understood by most people that, we're not, record the week of. We don't live together, so we pre-record a lot of episodes at a time. So by the time you guys are hearing this, Sireen is out of commission.
Yeah, she's done.
She will fully have given birth, and then we're not hearing from her for a bit. Yeah. So it's fine. We have a plan. Don't worry about it. So in the interim, I figured that's it. We could, we wanted to kind of close out the year talking about some stuff to do with, what could be coming next year to a certain extent. And we figured we'd take the opportunity today to talk about maybe some 2025 adaptations that are allegedly, some of them more confirmed than others, I think, coming out next year that maybe we're kind of looking forward to that could be fun because, in spite of all the flack that every adaptation gets from diehard fans, people still flock to see their favorite adaptations.
And I really think that, people need to stop hating so hard on, these book to TV. Okay, now, obviously, if the adaptation is complete and utter garbage where they have not followed the plot at all,
for sure,
they clearly never even read the book. They might have read some spark notes on the book. Fine, but the casting choices create so much uproar within the fandoms.
It's crazy
that it almost makes it hard for these companies to make these adaptations. So, for example, A Court of Thorns and Roses. We were talking about this earlier.
Yep.
I think Hulu had bought the rights to it.
I believe so. They've dropped it now.
They've dropped it now. They've shelved it. Probably going to end up getting picked up by somebody else. I don't know where we stand on this one. But at the same time, it's you just know that the fandom, myself included, I love these books.
Yeah, of course.
Would just go absolutely nuts.
Fucking bonkers.
Depending on who they choose.
Whoever.
It doesn't matter who they choose. Yeah. They're going to fail,
Oh, 100%.
And I said to you earlier, it's with... Shadow and Bone, that had so much hate the way that they did it. I read all these books, including The Six of Crows, and I loved it, and I thought they did a great casting choice. So it's all subjective. Right?
It is, of course. That's the problem, because even if a character in a novel, rarely are they described to an absolute T, because what would be the purpose of that? Authors are smart enough, I think, to know to leave things up to people's imaginations to an extent. But even beyond that point, even if they are described fairly clearly, it just doesn't mean that an actor who looks exactly like that character, first of all, exists, and second of all, is well suited to playing that character. There are some very talented people who maybe don't look the exact way that you thought about this person in their heads, but will carry the character incredibly well, you know? And I just don't, I think that as a whole, the book community, we maybe need to chill out with that.
I agree.
A little bit, because it gets a little bit harsh and it's just unwarranted, especially for these people who are only trying to do a job.
Yeah, I mean, it when you think about it, these books have made a lot of money because people love them. Obviously, they're going to want to make them into a TV show or a movie to make money.
Yes, because they know they're going to make a ton more money out of it because they have this huge following. Yeah. But then, it probably becomes this very daunting task for production companies to be okay, who are we casting? No matter who we cast, people are going to be mad. And then why does that mean that actor deserves hate from people online, which is insane, by the way. If any of you have ever sent anything negative to a person who's been cast in a TV show or a movie adaptation of something, you can go fuck yourself.
Right. Yeah.
I don't care.
Totally.
Seriously, based on race, based on the fact that you've decided that this person doesn't suit or look like the character that was in your head, you can fuck right off. Never listen to this podcast again. That's it. Go away.
Yeah. I agree with that. We want to see more diversity on screens.
It doesn't matter. And there have been so many authors of different novels who have been it doesn't, why are we making such a big deal out of this? It doesn't really matter. I remember when they did, don't get me wrong, the Dark Tower movie that they made was bad. Not good, not well done at all. But when Idris Elba was cast as the character of Roland, yes, obviously in the books, he's a white man. He's written by a white man, whatever. But everybody got all mad about it, and Stephen King himself had to go online to be like, who fucking cares?
Yeah. Well, it's like even piece of shit in chief J.K. Rowling was like defending the choice to have Hermione as a black character in Cursed Child.
Cursed Child, yeah. Where I was like, what fucking difference does it make?
The thing was, she was described as having dark, bushy hair.
Dark, bushy, curly hair.
Yeah.
So that just sounds like natural hair.
Like, it could be anybody.
Yes.
It's so general. Like, Hermione has so little, like, description.
And she has buck teeth in the first couple of books, or the first few books before she gets them fixed.
Yeah, well, she does them herself, right?
Madame Pomfrey doesn't. She's like, I just kind of let her go for a little bit longer. And I was like, that's smart.
That was smart. Well, Hermione is smart.
Yeah.
But anyway, if J.K. Rowling can defend this type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I do not defend J.K. Rowling.
No. It's not about that. But it's true in the sense that, like, if, like, the writers themselves are coming on to be like, what fucking difference does it make to you in your
Get
life?
over it,
Who
people.
cares? If they're playing the character well, like, it doesn't make a difference. It's fine.
Agree.
Yeah. Anyway. Hey, we haven't done it in a while, so before we get started, Sireen, what's on your nightstand?
Oh my god, okay. So I've been listening to more audiobooks recently.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually loving the audiobooks on Spotify, but hey, Spotify, could you please let me listen to as much as I want?
Yeah, it's stupid.
And stopping me from listening to shit because I ran out of listening hours. Anyway, so I listened to the audiobook of Ali Hazelwood's Two Can Play.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was her most recent one that came out. It was like, two people who work for a video game company.
Yeah, it's like an office rivalry thing, right?
But I wouldn't even say it's a rivalry. Like, it's like kind of like they work together.
It's toothless.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
They work together. She thinks he hates her because he's quite standoffish with her. Turns out that it's because he had asked her out, like, when she started at the company, and she blew him off because she didn't recognize that she was being asked out.
Yeah.
Because I think what he said to her was, hey, you look kind of tired. Do you want to grab a coffee? And she was like, no, I'm fine. I can drive home. Like, I'll be okay.
Okay.
And so he took that as her shoving him off, and then she didn't think anything of it.
Why would you?
And then he stopped, like, talking to her after that.
Oh my god, I would never go near a man like this.
Right. And he was like super standoffish, but she thought he was really cute, and then she had like a super crush on him, but then she let it go because she was like, well, this man like clearly hates me.
Being an asshole, yeah.
But it was just so bizarre, like the whole like interaction, because they were at this retreat for their company, and this whole thing takes place over like I think a few days. Like it's not really like a lengthy story of anyway. And it's just kind of like, oh, we both want to work on this game. That's kind of what's going on in the periphery.
Yeah.
And then, like, he thinks she's dating someone else at the company, but he sees him canoodling with someone else. So he, like, goes to beat up this guy. And the guy's like, the fuck is going on here?
Okay.
And she's like, what is going on? And then he starts declaring his undying love for her. And she's like, okay. And then she's like, yeah, this is wonderful. And I'm like, you would never go near a man like this. No. Like, he's deranged.
Yeah, he sounds crazy.
Like, can we stop with the toxic relationship tropes, you know? Like,
well, this sounds insane because it sounds like it's like another level of like, we've barely spoken 5 words to each other in the last X number of years. I love you. And you're like, whoa, what?
Yeah. He's like, you are the most beautiful person I've ever seen, and you are the best, and I think about you all day long, every day. But, like, couple this with the fact that, like, he's been standoffish and, like, stalkery, and then goes to try and beat someone up on her behalf. You'd be like,
no,
yeah, I'm gonna, like, go back to my room and please don't follow me.
Literally, like, okay, thanks, let's never speak again.
Yeah, but, of course, you know, you have the typical, like, I don't think I'm that pretty. I'm kind of nerdy. Why would any man like me? So, yeah. So, like, I was just, like, listening to this thing. So, I tend to listen to these as I fall asleep. And then I have to rewind, which is why I've run out of listening hours so quickly.
That's not great.
And I didn't listen to the last chapter, I think, because I was so fed up of this thing. I'm like, garbage. Anyway, so that's what was on my nightstand. Meaghan, what was on yours?
Yuck. So it's terrible. Yeah. I'm telling you, the only Ali Hazelwood that I've actually semi enjoyed that I've read was Bride. That's it. That's literally it, because it was the main character was a little more like funny and quirky. There was a little bit more of a sense of humor to it, and it had like, that's it, like supernatural creatures in a whole new established universe, which was more interesting. So I appreciated that more.
I heard that there was some sort of weird sexual trope in that my friend had to Google.
It's a werewolf smut thing called Nodding. Look it up. It's interesting.
Yeah, I heard about this.
And it's funny because I think the book was quite popular because Ali Hazelwood's a pretty popular author that a lot of people were like, who have read a lot more of like the alpha omega shit online have been like, oh god, this is the first people are ever coming across Nodding, but it seems like it's a very common thing.
Yeah, apparently. Like my friend Googled it and she's like, oh, like you have to hear about this.
In the paranormal / monster romance subcategories, very, very common it seems. Anyway, so okay, on my end of things. So I was lucky not too long ago to read an ARC that we received from Roundfire Books called The Glimmer in the Hollows. Thank you again, Roundfire. I'm forever grateful that any kind of publisher even wants to send us a book to review in the first place. Totally. It's incredible. So Glimmer in the Hollows is sort of part, I won't give anything away because it's not too old now, but it's sort of part kind of murder mystery in a small town that really delves into another aspect of things that I will say like by the third act I was pretty surprised in like the turn that the story had taken. I was like, oh okay, we've gone into a different genre.
Oh, interesting.
It's like surprise and you're like, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Can you say what kind of genre without giving too much away?
Science fiction.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very strange. Which was interesting. Like, I mean, like, granted, I'm not like a huge sci-fi person necessarily, but essentially at its core, it follows a small town in Appalachia where there seem to be, over the course of at least 20 or more years, more, I think in a lot of cases, cases of children who go missing periodically. Okay. And it's a dual perspective novel, but like the first character that we're introduced to, the female lead, is a woman who 20 years prior was babysitting this young girl who ran off into the woods, and they kind of got separated from each other, and she's one of the girls who went missing.
Okay.
And so she's still kind of dealing with that a number of years later. And at the same time, there is a novelist who shows up in town who's like, he's pretty popular, I think, in the maybe like mystery thriller sphere or something is my understanding. And he's looking for like new inspiration. He's read about these missing kid cases, so he kind of is going to the town to do a little bit of his own investigation, ask some questions, and see if he can like, work through some writer's block to a degree,
right,
and work on like this new story. And so their stories become intertwined because she's read all of his books also, and like, they kind of start working towards solving this mystery together to an extent. But it's an interesting premise. I will say that's it, because it takes like a pretty sharp left turn at the end. It's not going to be for everybody, but it was definitely an interesting kind of perspective to have, and I never would have assumed it when I picked up the book and read the description of it in the first place, so I appreciate that.
That's fun.
And then otherwise, the other book that I read more recently was We Used to Live Here, by Marcus Kleewer, which was just published, I believe, this past June, on the mystery thriller circuit, which has gotten a lot of buzz and stuff, and I believe has already been picked up for a Netflix film that I think Blake Lively is supposed to be in, per what I've read online. I don't know the specifics.
Oh, I super hope that this has nothing to do about any type of abuse or any sensitive subject matter.
No, I mean, maybe like slightly to a degree, but not in the way that you're thinking of. No. As long as she doesn't have to do press for it. Anyway. I was gonna say. Which I will say, like, that's it. There was a ton of buzz about it, so I was like, I'm really curious about this. It seems interesting. I wanted to read it. It's about a lesbian couple who have purchased, they flip houses.
Okay.
And they've purchased a house pretty far out on, I think it's in Oregon, I believe, like pretty far out on the West Coast, when like their family's all East Coast and stuff. This is the first time that they've like moved out to that area to do a project like this. And it's this really big, really nice older property. And they want to do a flip on it, but there's like, like the house is a little bit strange to a degree. And not too long after they've arrived, basically one evening, a family, husband, wife, and 3 children, I think 2 sons and a daughter, if I'm not mistaken, show up at their front door, and the husband is saying that he lived there as a child, and basically is like, oh, Ozzy's decided he does not like my description.
He's like, it's too long, Meaghan.
Yeah. Sorry if you guys can hear that. It's the dog growling at people walking by.
Ozzy.
So essentially, he's like, oh, I'm going to, and he's like, oh, do you mind if we kind of come in and look around? It's really uncomfortable. And the main character that way who drove me kind of insane is too much of a fucking people pleaser to say no.
Oh, I hate characters like that.
So she like invites them in, and then it's like they basically don't leave. It's really weird. It's like a really bizarre kind of series of events.
I don't like books like that. They make me too stressed and nervous.
Yeah, you would have been stressed out by this one. Yeah. But anyway, I will say like that's it. So I was really interested because I was like, this is an interesting premise. Like I'm curious about it. And I think it comes from I think it started as short pieces on Reddit subreddit of NoSleep.
Okay.
Where people, will submit like stories and stuff. I think it started from there and then developed to the point where it became an actual full-fledged novel. Anyway,
that's fun.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like I liked it well enough. I will say like I wasn't super impressed with the ending of it personally. It was kind of like mid-tier for me, but hey, that's just like a personal preference.
Yeah.
So
well,
I'd be curious to see what they do with the movie anyway.
Are they making an adaptation?
Yeah. Oh. Apparently Netflix has like fully picked it up. That's the Blake Lively of it all.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Duh. We just baby brain people.
I also struggle to understand what character she's supposed to be because I can't see her well suited to any of the characters in this novel. So it's weird. Like either of the two leads and the wife of like the husband who shows up, no, not at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I find like sometimes with these adaptations, now that we're getting into adaptations, sometimes they're just kind of like, oh, we have a famous actress.
We have a famous person. Let's put them in there. Yeah, I know. It's stupid. Anyway. Anyway, okay. We're delving on them. We're delving into things for too long. Sorry. 2025 adaptations that we're kind of aware are actually happening. Allegedly, supposedly. Well, I mean, like, the one that I know for sure is supposed to be premiering in 2025 on HBO is the It Welcome to Derry series.
Oh, yes, I heard about this.
Yeah, that I'm definitely curious about. It's a prequel to It's Chapter 1 and 2, so it, like, takes place with... I don't know, some earlier form of things in Derry and to do with Pennywise and stuff. Bill Skarsgård is returning as the character. They're doing all that stuff.
Awesome.
And Andy Muschietti, who wrote and directed the two films, is also show running it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's fun.
So that's cool.
Going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to enjoy that one, I think.
I'm definitely looking forward. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm very, because I mean, like, Pennywise could have such fascinating lore to delve into that I wonder what they're going to touch on in the series that way, because it's like an otherworldly ancient being to a degree, so...
Yeah, I feel like they don't really, like, explain that very well in, like,
Not
the
really.
It movies.
To be fair, the book doesn't really do it either, but you're just, like, scary, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally couldn't get through the book. It was too long.
It's very long. It's a oof. I
got about halfway through, but I was like, meh.
It's very long.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
you go now.
My turn.
Okay.
I think the one that I'm looking most forward to is We Were Liars. It's going to be the adaptation of the book of the same name.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on Amazon Prime. They've already released the cast. They've started filming. Yeah. They haven't released a specific date yet.
I think it's sometime next year. I would bet if they started filming during the summer, this past summer, then I would assume that like sometime by middle of next year it will most likely premiere, I would think.
Definitely. And like this book for me was one that it was so funny because I read it and I really enjoyed the writing in this book. Like for me, a lot of where I get my enjoyment is like in like the style of writing. And when there's an author who's really good with their style of writing, like in this one, I'm captivated. And this one really caught me off guard because I literally had a book hangover after this one because for some reason I couldn't see the twist at the end. It was like, it was pretty obvious what was going on. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the adaptation here because I think it's quite popular, this one. So there's going to be...
I think in the YA book sphere, it's very, very big.
There's
so
going to be... and I think there's isn't there a prequel book of this one too?
I don't know.
Yeah, there is.
I don't know. I hated this book.
I know. We really didn't agree on this one.
No, I hated this book. I did not like the style of writing, and I could see everything to do with the plot coming a fucking mile away like a freight train, and it was boring, and I didn't enjoy it.
So funny because I was like, I wonder what's going on, and I was telling Meaghan about this because I read it in like a day.
I think I read it before you. Sorry,
before me,
and then I was like.
I think she lost a little bit of respect for me after this one.
I didn't see the twist coming, and I was like, okay.
She's like, have you ever read a book before?
That is not true. I did not say that.
No, but it was written all over her face.
I would never say that out loud.
Anyway, okay, you go now.
Okay, so I'm very much, okay, so I know the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, or is it no, sorry, it's Cruel Intentions that's dropped on
that's right.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Apparently it's garbage.
Is it?
I
was going to say, do we need to watch that?
No, apparently it sucks. Also, I know that they had done I Know What You Did Last Summer as a TV series on Amazon, also terrible. I think I watched half an episode and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good. However, allegedly, and I'm hoping that I hope it's actually properly slated for release in 2025, but Mike Flanagan has penned a new I Know What You Did Last Summer film, requel style, because supposedly Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are coming back as their characters for the movie. So I'm pumped for that, because I'm like, well, listen, I wouldn't have all these other ones I'm not excited about at all.
Yeah, but Mike Flanagan and getting the old cast together I couldn't think of the word for requel yesterday. So
I was like, what is it called again when it's like a remake thing? And I was like, oh yeah, requel.
Yeah, I tried to call it a regroot.
A regroot. It's regrowing. It's branched off somewhere. That's okay. All right. What other ones do you have?
Okay, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden.
Right.
This one's really, really popular, like in the book universe, book talk, whatever. Like,
I think I have the first book, because I know there's a few of them.
There
I believe.
is. Yeah, I have the first one as well.
Yeah.
I picked it up. I haven't read it yet, but I probably should. I've heard really great things about this book. It's like a thriller.
That would probably be a good one when you're having sleepless issues.
That's what I'm thinking,
with the
right?
Baby. Like when after baby gets here and you're like stuck up at different times and stuff. That might be a good one, because I feel like it's one of those like popcorn thriller types of things. Which by the way, like I said, I had done like I wrote an article about that not too long ago, because like popcorn thrillers I find have been popping up as a thing on my feed recently. That I was just like, oh, I'm gonna write a little like editorial about this. So I looked into it a little bit, and Frida McFadden is one whose name for popcorn thriller novels pops up all the time.
Yeah, like I think she's pretty popular. Like, and I'm also getting the feeling that it's like you either love her or hate her. Like, so yeah, I'm quite excited to read this one. And this adaptation, they've already cast Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
There's been some hype around that, so that's for this year too.
I feel like I'm gonna have trouble telling those two apart.
I mean, there's so many S's here, like Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, and I mean, just like the blonde, they both have kind of similar facial structures.
They do,
to a degree,
yeah.
And they kind of remind me of each other in the sense that, like, I feel like Amanda Seyfried, if she were the same age as Sydney Sweeney now, would be playing very similar roles.
Yeah, I mean, like they're kind of similar in that way, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, like, you know, that's it. Like, you know, we can, I mean, like, obviously Euphoria was like its own like really hopped up kind of thing, but I feel like, you know, if it were happening like 10-15 years earlier, like Amanda Seyfried would have been that character, like the character that she was in Veronica Mars.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why and I don't know, again, I actually don't know anything about this book, so I don't know if they're supposed to be playing sisters or something.
No, I wonder.
But
I feel like no, because one of them is the maid.
Yeah,
Probably. Yeah. So who knows? I don't know. We'll see what it's going to be like. Okay. My next one is the Netflix Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro.
Oh yeah, you can't wait for that.
Oh, I'm so fucking excited. I'm so excited. Guillermo del Toro doing a monster movie of any kind is always right up my alley. He's such a fantastic storyteller, and the visual aspects and like different sorts of things that he creates for the characterizations that he puts on screen are incredible. Frankenstein is also something that he's been wanting to do for ages. Ages he's been wanting to tackle a project like this. And I know that it's not your classic typical rehashed Frankenstein. It takes place a number of years after the events of the original story.
Interesting.
It's got a stacked cast. What am I looking at? Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, Jacob Elordi. Christoph Waltz is in it as well.
Wow.
Like, there's a pretty hefty
Who's
cast
playing Frankenstein?
The monster or the man?
Who's playing Frankenstein's monster?
I don't know. Maybe Jacob Elordi.
I was gonna say
he's so tall.
He's so tall.
Yeah.
Oh no! Don't do that to him.
Because I think Oscar Isaac might be Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay.
I think.
Oscar Isaac. Who is he again?
He's in Star Wars and stuff.
Oh yeah, him.
Yeah.
He was that white moon guy. What's it called? Moon Knight.
Oh, I did not watch it. Sure. Yeah, it's one of the many MCU shows that I couldn't be arsed with. Yeah. Okay. Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Next one I've got on my list is The Good Girls Guide to Murder Season 2.
Are we hoping they do more with it? Maybe.
Like, I know that there's a whole series of books here, so, like, another kind of, like, if I'm having a sleepless night, I think I'll, like, keep cracking away at these books, because I really enjoyed the first one.
I know, that's
really
it.
did.
And my understanding is that, like, that's it, like, the first, like, trilogy, because I know one of them's, like, a prequel. There's, like, a fourth book that's, like, a prequel story. But as far as I know, like, the books themselves are, like, super popular. Yeah, they're really... A lot of people really like
they're
them.
One of those, like, the first one was a super easy read. Like, it was, you know, captivating. I read it in, like, 2 days. Yeah. Like, really enjoyed it. The show, like, we covered it in one of our episodes this year, so if you haven't heard it, go back in and listen.
Go back and listen to that, because we were talking about YA, like, mysteries and stuff, and it coincided with the release of the first season of the show.
It did.
There were positive aspects to it.
It was just a bit slow.
It was just it wound up making it a bit more of a mediocre watch, so I'm really curious to see, like, with the second season, if they kind of rehash the same thing, or if they actually...
like do more with the twist, and it all depends, because the first one was done in partnership with the BBC, so I don't know if the second one's going to be the same, but definitely the same cast. So
yes, that's it. So I think we're getting, like, something very similar, which is fine. You know. So we're finally getting the first ever screen adaptation of an Emily Henry novel, which I feel took forever, because we're getting People We Meet on Vacation as the first adaptation of her novels. What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing at the cast earlier, our discussion.
Oh, when we were, oh my God. So Sireen's looking at, and she's like, oh, People We Meet on Vacation. And we were talking about it, and she's looking at the two main characters. And she goes, Tom Blythe. Tom Blythe. And even as she was saying it, I was like, well, the name sounds familiar. And then she was like, oh, isn't that the guy from Snacks? And I'm like, you mean the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes?
She knew exactly what I was talking about.
We've been friends for a while, and it shows when I can guess these things. But yes, it is Tom Blythe, who was President Snow in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, that will be great. And then that's it. I can't remember her name.
Emily Borden?
Okay, yes, thank you. Yeah, playing from My Lady Jane.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be cool, like, to see that kind of thing. People We Meet on Vacation isn't my favorite, but I know it's a lot of people's favorite Emily Henry story.
Well, I think it's, like, the go-to Emily Henry story.
It's one of her, like, slightly earlier ones, too, I think, before she, like, super-duper blew up all over the place, like, when she was, like, really gaining popularity. And so I think it's a lot of people's first of hers that they read. It's not mine, actually. It was somewhere smack dab in the middle of the different ones that I was reading.
Yeah.
And I did really enjoy it. Like, it's a good one, but I don't think it's my favorite. Although, I mean, like, I haven't read her latest funny story, but I'm sure that it's also good, because she's got romance that really pulls at your heartstrings. I will say, like, the types of stories that she writes. So
I have, like, 3 of her books, and I haven't read them yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got to put them
up your alley, Sireen.
Oh, I know. Like, I've got, like, this big TBR list, and, like, I feel like they're all, like, easy, quick reads, so it's good.
Well, you know, you'll have a whole amount of time to get through that.
Yeah.
I get a whole year of these things.
I know. Woohoo.
Yeah.
So next one on my list is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Very hugely popular. Yes. This will be the second book-to-screen adaptation of Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm making sure I'm not saying Aaron Taylor Johnson by accident.
Wrong one. Wrong person.
Fine, man.
Yeah. That's the only reason anybody's going to watch that fucking Craven movie.
That trailer lives rent-free in my mind, and I can't tell you why. I couldn't tell you what that movie's about. Anyway.
I think that was what happened to me with the trailer for Madam Web when it came out. Oh, God.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
It's horrible.
Oh, my goodness.
Horrible.
Oh, my gosh. I feel so bad for all those girls.
All of them. Every single one of them. Anyway, so Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Very, very, very popular.
Oh, yeah.
It's about a woman who's, like, older, and she's now telling her story to, like, a reporter, journalist, whatever you want to call her. I did read most of this book. I didn't finish it because if you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you will know that I have some sort of black hole in my library.
The black hole is your mom.
Yeah, she moves stuff. And then I don't find it again. And so, like, periodically, like, I'll be like, I think I have this book, and then I won't find it. Yes. And I'm, like, convinced that I have a book.
Yeah.
And then I go and buy another copy of the book, and then it pops up. Or I'll be like, oh, I don't have that book, and then it'll magically appear, like, right before my eyes as I'm saying this sentence. So with Evelyn Hugo, I got, like, 3/4 of the way through, and then the book
vanished.
Disappeared. Yeah. And I still haven't found it. So when I do find it, it'll be great to finish it.
Oh, for sure. But yeah. I mean, I find, and I don't know if this was like the case in like, because you'd read like at least over half of it. In one of the rare instances for me, what I've only read Daisy Jones and the Six, and I've watched the show. And for me, her style of doing stuff translates very well to screen. If anything, it might actually be better suited for screen than a novel.
I agree with you, because I think I said to you, and I'd have to go back and listen, but I think when I was reading this, I literally said to you, I feel like I would enjoy this more to watch it.
I feel like you told me that,
because I didn't love the book. I felt bored, but I liked the premise of it. And so I think I said to you, like, I would rather watch this on the screen.
Yeah, that's it. And a lot of them, because like, so, and I don't know if all of her novels are like this, but obviously that's it. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is told from the perspective of like, that's it, like an interview that's taking place. Daisy Jones and the Six is like a documentary style, which is how they translated it into the show as well, obviously. But I found maybe because of that style, it translates so well. That show was incredible.
I need to finish it.
I don't know why you didn't. It's
you know what? Good. I think it's because I tend to put these things on when I'm like half asleep and like not really like in the mood for like paying attention to shit. And then when I go back and I try again, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And you're like, yes, I know, I told you.
It's so good. It's the cast was like phenomenal. The music is fucking good as well.
It's supposed
really
to be
good.
Like Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, it's like it definitely takes some inspiration for sure from like 70s bands that were very much like that Fleetwood Mac like rock style kind of thing. And I mean, like, okay, fine, the stands to reason Fleetwood Mac's like one of my favorite bands, but you know, even so,
they're awesome.
Even so, like the characters and like the story and stuff is so good, and everybody did like an incredible job, really, especially like the two leads. Like, wow. So I agree with you. I think it'll be interesting to see, because I'm really curious to see like if it might make a really good film or TV show because of the style of writing.
It might just be this author, like, hey, good on you. Like,
maybe that's it. Maybe her stuff is just made to also be on screen.
Yeah, but people love her books.
Yes, so. Agreed. That's it. So who knows? Okay. Oh, so I read, and I don't know about a confirmed actually being released in 2025 or not, but going into another like series that you've read that I think, from everything you've told me, I haven't read the books, would make a really good translation to screen. They're supposed to be adapting the Inheritance games.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. That would make an excellent TV show. Books got a little boring after a bit because it was a little like repetitive.
Right.
But I would totally watch the shit out of this because it's just fun.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, like, it's like a cool, like, puzzle mystery thing that you get to watch happening. I feel like that would make
quirky characters who are just fun to, like there were moments when I read these. I think I read 3 of them.
There are 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, I think I read 3 where I, like, actually laughed out loud at, like, some of the things that the brothers, because it's, like, there's a number, I think, I'm going to call it 5 brothers or something. They're always like kind of in competition with each other because their grandfather put them.
Right, yeah.
He's always given them puzzles.
So there's a lot of banter,
There's a lot of banter, and they've got like very quirky personalities. And like one of the younger ones is hilarious, and like he's always doing shit that you're like, oh my God, as if he just did that. Like he's playing pranks on the others. But yeah, like it's fun. So I would love to see an adaptation of that one.
That would be super fun. That's it. And okay, I'm throwing it out into the ether because we like just saw the news, and I think it's going to be hilarious. I need to see Verity with Anne Hathaway.
I just put that on my list. I just remembered Verity's being made.
Verity's being adapted with Anne Hathaway.
Oh God! And Verity is like.
And I'm also wondering, is Anne Hathaway Verity, or is she the main character?
Like the wife?
Yeah, like is she the wife, or is she the girl who like goes to like live with them as a ghost writer?
Because Verity is the wife.
Yes, I mean like the other one whose name I don't remember her name.
And like based on like the book, the wife, I don't know, because it depends how they're going to do it, right? Because they're probably going to do a lot of like throwback.
Well, they'll do, because I'm sure that like, you know, as she's reading what she thinks are quote unquote diary entries there, it'll probably do like flashbacks to show what happened like from that perspective. And so that also for the audience creates a thing of like, oh my God, this actually did happen. Like, you know.
I don't know who she's gonna play.
I would assume probably the lead. I would guess anyway. But
yeah. But that's the thing. Like, they're both kind of the lead, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Because it's kind of, and they're both very, very, very different characters.
Yeah, and I guess also it depends, right? Because isn't the main character supposed to be in like her early 20s or something? And Verity's like old, maybe like old, like mid to late 30s or whatever, or something along those lines.
Well, she's had kids. She's been married. She's had a whole career as an author.
Because her and the husband have been together for a while.
Yeah, I would assume Anne Hathaway is going to be Verity, to be honest.
Maybe.
And I think that would be interesting because you're going to see like a different side of Anne Hathaway. Like, she's going to play like this like warm motherly character who's then going to turn into a villain.
And a sex fiend, apparently.
And a sex fiend. Yeah, of all the Colleen Hoover books I've read, this was like my least hated.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of enjoyed this one the most.
But also, like, one of the most unhinged, I would say. Just
so bonkers. But see, the thing is, like, with Colleen Hoover, like, I find that all of her books are completely unhinged and bonkers.
For sure.
And so it's like, this one is at least like, hey, I'm unhinged and bonkers. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, okay. But, like, with other ones, it's like, no, like, I'm talking about serious subject matter. And you're like, but you're still unhinged and bonkers.
But you're still insane. Like, oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all of this is shaping up to make 2025 a very interesting year of adaptations, I would say, depending on, like, what else might pop up that we haven't heard about, or, like, you know, that might come down the pipeline, or that, like, maybe I just didn't find when I was looking into it and everything. Who knows, man? There could be so many, and I'm sure we're all very curious to see where all of that goes. But anyway, if you guys...
curious.
Oh, my God. You can let us know anyway if you guys have any any adaptations that you know are being made that you're looking forward to, something maybe you're not looking forward to, whatever it is, over on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at fullybookedca. And you can also check out our website at fullybooked.ca and sign up for our newsletter and take a look at everything that we have being posted on our daily basis. But until next week, guys, keep on reading.
Thanks, everyone.